Earlier this year, around the time of Radhashtami, I gave a series of talks on Radha Katha. And then, after giving a few talks, I stopped, thinking that these topics are very relishable, no doubt, but very high and for day-to-day consumption, we can say. Just like day-to-day diet is bread and butter, chapati and ghee. Just like we used to have the Sunday feast, 6 days a week, very, we could say, plain style of prasad, and on Sunday a big feast. So I had several days feast for Radha Katha, and then we have to get back to regular discussion of topics of Gita and Bhagavatam. Now, the disappearance day of Srila Narottama Dasa Thakur is coming up, so it's suitable to, in remembrance of Srila Narottama Dasa Thakur, to resume discussing such subjects. Of course, we want to do so in a manner that will nourish our devotion, considering our present level, but also looking up to the level that Narottama Dasa taught from. So I'll continue these topics, not immediately speaking about Narottama Dasa, speaking about the subject of Krishna Prema. Knowledge of Krishna was there in the world. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu popularized that. And particularly Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he's very, very famous for giving impetus to Sankirtan, the congregational chanting of the holy names. That the holy names, Hare Nama Eva Kaivalam Kalau, that the holy names, the chanting of the holy names are the only way. Kalo Nam Sankirtan Parama Upai, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, that they're the topmost means in this Kali Yuga. That was already there in Shastras, there in Bhagavatam, right from the very first chapter up to the very last verse. It was there, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu really emphasized that and popularized it. And another of the great gifts of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was, along with popularizing Krishna Bhakti, to reveal the inner secrets of Krishna's heart, of Krishna's love, of Krishna's Vrindavan pastimes, and that of course means Radhar Mahima, Prema Rasa Shima, the glories of Srimati Radharani, which are the ultimate limit of love, Prema Ras, the divine rapturous mellows of love between Radha and Krishna. And of course, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he came with his associates, and among them, some in particular, they helped to perpetuate the legacy that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave. Well, they all did in various ways. Nityananda Prabhu and his associates, they spread the chanting of the holy names and love of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu widely throughout Bengal. And there were others, especially Rupa Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami, who in their writings, they portrayed and communicated the love of Radha and Krishna that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to communicate to the world. We have for instance, in Raghunath Das Goswami's Vilap Kusumanjali, he's praying to Radha, Tavayavasmi, Najivami Tvayavina, Iti Vigyaya Devi Twang Nayamam Charanantikam. he prays to Radha, I am yours, I am yours. I cannot live without you. Knowing this, you know this, oh my goddess, oh the lady of my life. It's the English words don't work really. The lady of my life, the mistress of my life. Knowing this, take me to the edge of your lotus feet. She prays also, Raghunath Das Goswami prays to Radha. Ashabharai Amrita Sindhu Mayai Katanchit Kalo Mayati Gamita Kila Sampratanghi Tungchit Kripa Mai Vidhasyasi Naiva King May Pranaya Vrajena Chavaroro Bakarinapi. Overoro, he prays to her, that she who has beautiful thighs, most beautiful, most magnanimous goddess. This is, I believe this, I took this translation from Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj. This was a favorite verse of, this also from Vilap Kusumanjali, favorite verse of Srila Bhaktistan Saraswati Thakur. Not that he preached it among the common people, but he personally relished it. Overoro, my most beautiful, most magnanimous goddess. Goddess is a very good word. My heart is flooded with an ocean of nectarian hopes. Ashabharayar, my heart is filled with hope. I have somehow been passing time until now eagerly longing for your grace, which is an ocean of ever-cherished nectar. But I've given, I don't have any more time. I can't wait anymore. If you still do not bestow your mercy on me, then what is the use of my life? What is the use of this land of Raghunath Das is living in Vrindavan? What is the use of being here? And what is the use of Krishna without you? Referring to Radha. Then you may think of him, yeah, he's a very great personality, Krishna. He kills demons like Agha, Baka, Putana. But what's he without you? It's just he's killing some demons. What do we care about that? So these are the feelings. I'm just saying it. Raghunath Das is feeling it. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is feeling it. And he communicated that to others. What about us? What do we do? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came, he gave Radha Prem, he left. What are we going to do? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is gone, Raghunath Das is gone, we speak about Narottama Das, they've gone. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had a system, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted that the gift of Prem that he gave to the world, that would continue to be relishable and available in the world even after his passing. In this regard, there is a narration which is given in the Prema Vilas that when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was going through Kanaya Natshala, that's a place which is actually in Bihar now. It's just over the border from Bengal. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, if you know Chaitanya Charitamrita, you'll know that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was on his way to Vrindavan, but he turned back at the place called Kanaya Natshala. He was very happy there to see the drama of Krishna. So at this place, he started calling out, Narottama, Narottama. Narottama is the name of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Supreme Lord who is either perceived as the Supreme Male, or another meaning of it is he who is above all mundane humans. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, dancing ecstatically in Kirtan, began to call out the name Narottam, Nityananda Prabhu, who was with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, asked him why he was calling out this name in particular. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said to Nitai, you don't know your own divine glories. I know your glories better than you do. Because in Puri one time, when you were crying tears of ecstatic prem, I captured that love that was emanating from your eyes, from your heart, and I kept it. Now, I want to keep it by the Padmavati river for Narottama. So then he went to the Padmavati. Actually, there's the Ganga. What happened? The Padma river. Now that river is known as Padma. What happens? Ganga, she flows through the skies, through the Akash Ganga, comes down to this earth, is caught in the hair of Lord Shiva, is released, comes down through Gomukh, Gangotri, comes down through Vyasa's ashram, comes down to Rishikesh, Haridwar, comes down through the plains of North India, through so many holy places, and keeps on flowing pretty much in an easterly direction after she hits the plains of India, comes down from Himalayas, just east and coming down a little bit south. Now, if she had continued like that, it might seem she might flow into East Bengal and then on to Burma and then maybe to Thailand. But no, she comes down, she makes a turn to Ganga Sagar. That is the gift of Bhagirath Maharaj. So she makes a distinct turn, but and comes down to Ganga Sagar. Now, if you see on the map, it looks like she flows, keeps on flowing east. But what's happening, actual Ganga is coming south and flowing east into East Bengal. That river is called Padma River, not the same as Ganga. It's different and non-different from Ganga. And then she mixes with so many other rivers, Brahmaputra, Tista, and Meghna, and then flows out to the Bay of Bengal in East Bengal. But the actual Ganga comes south and then goes through what is nowadays Calcutta and like that. So, Padma River, Narottama Dasa was born after the time of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He was born in Keturi, which is in East Bengal, it's actually just on the, if you see the border of Bangladesh and India nowadays, it's just inside, not far inside the border, and just a short distance, walking distance from the Padma River, the place called Keturi. So the Padma River, Nityananda, he was told by Gauranga Mahaprabhu that, you see, I kept this prem in the Padma River, and when Narottama comes, you have to, when he comes to bathe here, he'll be born later, when he comes to bathe here, you have to give that prem to him. So that place is known as Prem Tali, the place where the prem was kept, and that place is still known as that place up to the present time. Padmavati was the river Padma, the goddess. She was told that you have to give this to Narottama. So it was Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, it was Nityananda's prem, which is Chaitanya's prem. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he gave that to Narottama via Nityananda and Padma. So Padma, he asked, he told her, when Narottama comes, you give this prem to him. Well, how will I know? What is Narottama? Who is Narottama? that when he enters your waters, you will automatically overflow with bliss. Now, when Narottama was 12 years old, Nityananda came in a dream and told him, now you have to go and bathe in the river. There's something waiting for you there. Something very special. So he went to the next day, and as soon as he put the foot in the water, then Padma automatically started to overflow. And then she gave the prem which she had been safeguarding for him. So Narottama got Krishna prem. Even though Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had passed away from this world, Nityananda had passed away from this world, Narottama got this prem, and then again, okay, all right, he got it. But what about us now? How do we get it? What do we do? So Narottama, he got this prem, and he, just like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stored it, and with the goddess Padma to give to Narottama, Narottama stored it in his writings. And in other he passed that on to other devotees, but it's available in his writings. His writings, very, very famous, Prema Bhakti Chandrika and Prarthana. Prema Bhakti Chandrika, in every ISKCON temple throughout the world, the Prema Bhakti Chandrika is sung every day. Really? You didn't know? The first song of Prema Bhakti Chandrika is Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakati Satma. And if you study this song, you understand that it's just bursting with prem. It's such an expression of prem. Even someone with just even a slight touch of understanding, even someone it's just like someone just can see the sun rising from a very, very long distance. So if someone has just got a little bit of vision of what is that, you can begin to understand how saturated with Siddhanta and Prem is this song, Shri Guru Charana Padma. It's the first song of Prem Bhakti Chandrika. So how do we get Prem? It's described, there was one devotee, Babaji, who was asked, how can I get Prema Bhakti? This Jagadish Baba, that was his name, he was in Vrindavan. There was a pilgrim coming to Vrindavan from Bengal. So he asked, so the Babaji said, you can come and stay with me, live with me in Vrindavan? He said, no, I can't do that. How can I get Prem? Okay, you can get it. You spend 2 annas. 2 annas is a small amount of money. You get one book with all the songs of Narottama Das, Prem Bhakti Chandrika and Prarthana. Study it, follow it in practice, and you will develop Prema Bhakti. Everything we need is there. For us, nowadays, we can say the same thing. You get Srila Prabhupada's books, you study them, you put it into practice, and you'll get Prema Bhakti. So, Narottama Das, by the grace of Gaur-Nitai, he got Prem, the Prem that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to give, and he deposited it in the Prem Bhakti Chandrika and his Prarthana. What was the Prem that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to give? That was the love in separation. We can start to experience this if we sing the songs of Narottama Das. And others, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is the same mood in giving, the same mood in his songs. But, as I spoke in the previous series of talks of Radha Katha, we have to be ready for that also. It's not such an easy thing or such a cheap thing. It's very easy to talk of prem, but are we really ready for that? Do we really want that? Because if we see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes, especially the latter pastimes, it seems to be full of pain. It's the pain, the bliss of love. It's contradictory because it seems to be full of pain. And Narottama Dasa, we can find from his songs, he's full of suffering, just like this Asha Bharair, this Raghunath Dasa. I'm filled with a hope, but everything seems hopeless to me if I can't get you, Radha. And so, very similar mood that Narottama Dasa, he expressed in his songs also. And if you see the pictures of Narottama Dasa, there are pictures of him based on what was seen at that time. You can see he's sitting there, looks like calmly, but he's just suffering inside this. The suffering that is the highest bliss, which is not explainable. It's to be experienced. Srila Prabhupada writes in his purport to Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, chapter 16, text 281. Srila Narottama Dasa Thakur, Srila Prabhupada mentions Narottama Dasa Thakur as one among many great Vaishnavas who always engaged in Nam Bhajan and certainly did not live anywhere but Vrindavan. Now, if we see the biography of Narottama Dasa, he didn't live in Vrindavan. He did for a short time, but most of his life, and when he composed the Prema Bhakti Chandrika and Prarthana series of songs, he was living in Ketari. He went back to Ketari. He was ordered by his Shiksha Guru, Jiva Goswami, to go back to Bengal and to distribute this knowledge of Krishna consciousness and the Prema Bhakti in Bengal. So he did by going back to live in Ketari. But Prabhupada writes that he didn't live anywhere except Vrindavan. That means in his consciousness he was in Vrindavan. He wasn't living in the Bengal that most people live in. Most people who live in Bengal, they live, they eat, they sleep, eating, sleeping, mating and defending. Most people don't have the consciousness that the Sri Gaura Mandala Bhumi Jeba Jane Chintamani Tarhoi Braja Bhume Bash. Most people don't think that this is a spiritual land, the land of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates. They may do, if they're Vaishnavas, they certainly think like that. But most people take it as the place where they are. It's the place where they are living, and they're living their life for eating, sleeping, mating, and defending, and sense gratification. So Narottama Dasa, although he might appear to be one of the many millions of people who live in Bengal or who have lived in Bengal, he didn't live in that Bengal. His consciousness, by his consciousness, he was always living in Vrindavan, always thinking of Vrindavan. It was as if he was exiled. He had he'd run away from Ketari. As a young boy, he got Krishna Prem. Where's the land of Prem? He wanted to go to Vrindavan. He ran to Vrindavan. And there he took shelter of Lokanath Goswami, took initiation from him, was sent by him to study from Jiva Goswami. He studied from Jiva Goswami along with Srinivas and Shyamananda, and they were all very happy living in Vrindavan. And among themselves they made a pact that we're all young men now, but we'll spend our lives together very happily living here in Vrindavan. And then Jiva Goswami told them, now you all go back to your homes, your home places, and you spread Krishna consciousness there. So they had to do what he said, and they went back to Bengal, and Shyamananda went to Orissa, for where he was from, for spreading Krishna consciousness. So it was as if he was exiled, having lost Vrindavan. I live in Vrindavan. I want to live in Vrindavan. I belong in Vrindavan. I have no other hope. I have no other desire than Vrindavan. Vrindavan means serving Radha and Krishna in Vrindavan. But he thought himself to be exiled. He lost Vrindavan, and he thought himself unqualified to live there. Bishoy charya kobe shuddha habe man tobe hamaherabo Sri Vrindavan. He thought, I've been sent outside because I'm not qualified, because I'm thinking of sense gratification. When I give up all desires for sense gratification, then my mind will be purified. Then I will be qualified to live in Vrindavan. Actually, he's giving a lesson to us. We can't just jump into Vrindavan and jump into Ras Leela and all these things. We have to become purified by taking association of Srila Prabhupada, all the great acharyas who tell us about Vrindavan, who tell us about the love of Radha and Krishna. Then we get the desire to follow in their footsteps and know that we have to become purified. We have to perform our sadhana. We have to chant the holy names in great seriousness. Then we could become qualified to actually enter into Vrindavan. Now, everything we need to become fully Krishna consciousness. Start again.
Yeah.
Everything we need to become fully Krishna conscious is there in Srila Prabhupada's books. We don't need anything else. But, of course, Srila Prabhupada introduced us to a vast universe with innumerable devotees, innumerable leelas, the land of Vrindavan, the land of Mayapur. And he states within his books that going to Vrindavan means to study the writings of the previous acharyas. Who can study all the writings of the previous acharyas? There's so many books. Even if, for instance, we wanted to study only Bhaktivinoda Thakur's books, he wrote so many. Or even Narottama Dasa, in quantity, what we have of his writings is not so much, but the quality, the depth is so much. By the grace of Srila Prabhupada, I came to Bengal in my youth and learned the Bengali language. I first wanted to learn Bengali. Later it was utilized in the preaching mission of Srila Prabhupada by preaching the message of Krishna consciousness as much as I'd understood in Bengali language. But my original motivation for wanting to learn Bengali was because as I'd just, by living in Bengal, picked up a little Bengali here and there, and hearing the songs of the Vaishnava acharyas being sung regularly, then I thought, oh, it's so sweet and so nice. I want to learn that. I had a particular realization one morning in Calcutta ISKCON temple. We were singing the Tulsi Kirtan, and I realized I understand everything. And there are so many nice songs. Why don't I just learn Bengali, then I can enter into all of this? I'm in Bengal, why not? So I did, and by the grace of Srila Prabhupada, by the grace of Saraswati, gave a drop of her mercy to me so that I could, to a large extent, understand this beautiful language of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates. So I have some entrance into the songs of Narottama Dasa. By reading them, singing them, hearing them in Bengali language, I can directly understand what they mean without having to read a translation. Some words are a bit obscure. I may have to look them up here and there, but even many Bengalis might have to do that. So I'm going to read one of the prayers. I was talking about the prayers of Prarthana, the songs of Narottama Dasa. What is his feelings? His feelings of great love in separation, he so much wants to be in Vrindavan, his pain of being separated from Vrindavan. I'm sent out of Vrindavan. I just desire to go back. Just one of the many songs which he writes in this regard. I'm going to read it and then translate it as I go along. Hari Hari ar ki emana dasha habo ebhava samsara taji parama anande moji ar kobe braja bhume jabo. Calling out Hari Hari to his most dear Lord Krishna. When will I get in that situation when giving up this materialistic life? He thought, in my youth, in my boyhood, I gave up this materialistic life and went to Vrindavan. When again will I do that? When again will I give up this materialistic life and becoming absorbed in and enjoying that great bliss? I will go again to the land of Vrindavan. He's remembering Vrindavan. Shukamai Vrindavan. Kobe hobe darshan. When again will I see that land of full of bliss, Vrindavan? Shei dhuli lagebe kobe gai. When again will I on my body put the dust of Vrindavan? Preme Godda Godda Hoya Radha Krishna Namalaya. Rolling on the ground with my voice, how he's getting the dust, how he's going to get that, rolling on the ground, garagari and gada gada. His voice is choked up as he's calling out the name of Radha Krishna very loudly. Kandeya beraibo ubharai, calling out, crying the names of Radha and Krishna very loudly. Nibritta Nikunja Jaya Ashtange Pranama Hoy. Then going into the internal groves, the forest groves and clearings of Vrindavan, falling flat, offering obeisances. Dakibo Ha Radha Natha Boli. Going into the groves of Vrindavan, calling out loudly, Radhanath, Radhanath, calling out to Krishna. Krishna has so many names, but particularly Radhanath. Kobe jamuna tire parasha koribo nire. Kobe pibo kora pute tuli. And when will I'll go on the bank of the Yamuna and then touching the water, bringing up the water in my hands and drinking the water. Now you may think, well, that's very strange. What is this? What an aspiration is this? People aspire to become rich and famous, but he wants to go and drink water from a river. This can only be understood by devotees, for sure. Ar kobayemon hobo shri rasha mondale jabo. Then again, when I have the chance to go to the Rasa Mandala, the place where Krishna performs his circular dancing pastimes with the gopis. Kobe gora gade, kobe gorda gada debo tai, and then rolling on the ground there. Gora gori. Bongshibata chaya paya parama ananda hoya. And then in the shade of the Vangshivata, the tree, the vata, the banyan tree where Krishna would call the gopis with his flute. Pariyarahibo tarachaya, then I will fall down and remain in the shade of that tree. Kobe Govardhana Giri Dekibo Nayana Bore Kobe Hobe Radha Kunde Bash. When will I see again Govardhan, the hill Govardhan, filling my eyes And then when will I live at Radha Kund? Brahmite, brahmite kobe, e deha patana hobe, kohe dina Narottama Dasa. So he's just in visualizing. I want to go back to Vrindavan and just wander in the groves of Vrindavan and offer obeisance and roll in the ground, call out the names of Radha Krishna, drink the water of the Yamuna. In this way, wander round and round on Vrindavan, and just in this way spend my life and then fall down and die there. This is my aspiration, Narottama Dasa. He wrote many songs in this regard. Just in one verse, he summarizes his feelings about this. Oneka dukhe pare loyet chile brajapure kripar dore golai bandhiya doiba maya balat kare koshaya ashe dore bhavakupe dilek daria. He says that I was suffering so much in material existence. Then you, Krishna, you got the rope of your mercy and put it around my neck and dragged me to Vrindavan. That was your mercy. Then what happened? By the force of fate, by the force of Maya, she loosened that tie, that rope by which I was kept in Vrindavan, and again threw me into the well of material existence. So this is his feeling. I got Vrindavan. Now I don't have it. I so much want to go back. So he was living in Vrindavan. Prabhupada writes in that purport. He was living in Vrindavan. How was he living in Vrindavan? He was living just by always being absorbed in thought of Vrindavan, living in separation. This is prem, love in separation. Now we may say, he went to Bengal, he preached in Bengal, why didn't he go back to Vrindavan? He so much desired that. Well, within his Prem Bhakti Chandrika, there's one line he says, that Guru Bhakha Parama Mahatta. Most important is the order of the Guru. His Guru had ordered him. You go and preach in Bengal. So he did. That was his own personal wish, was to live in Vrindavan. He did by his strong desire. But physically, he had to live away from Vrindavan. In this way, his love for Vrindavan was so much. So it's feeling of desperation. I got it. Now I don't have it. Will I ever get it again? His hope is there. Still his hope is there. His songs, his very life is permeated with that feeling that I must get it. I must again get Vrindavan. And this way, this very feeling he has communicated to us by kindly writing in his songs. This is technically called Karuna Ras, the pathos of Raja Bhav, the feelings of Vrindavan, for Vrindavan, permeated with feelings of pathos or hopelessness in this case. Almost hopelessness, but still a hope is keeping alive. In another song, he sings, Shuniya Shadhur Mukhe Sharan Laino Shuke Upekele Nahi Moragoti. He's praying to Radha and Krishna that hearing from sadhus, hearing from the mouth of sadhus about the great benefit or the need to take shelter of you. I did so. I very happily took shelter of you, Radha and Krishna. But he says now, don't deprive me of you are my gati. So you are my goal. You're my all, my be-all and end-all. So don't deprive me of my hope, my goal. You are my goal, so don't deprive me of my goal. And he sings, Jai Radhe, Jai Krishna, Jai Jai Radhe Krishna. Krishna Krishna, Jai Jai Radhe. Anjale Mashtaka Dhari, Narottama Bhume Pari, Kahe Dohe, Purao Manashadhe. So bringing my hands together, folding my hands, Narottam falls down on the ground and prays to both of you, Radha and Krishna. Please fulfill the desire in my mind. So what is the desire in his mind? What does he want to go and live in Vrindavan for? He's wandering around, drinking the water of the Yamuna. What's his ultimate purpose? Now, I'm going to read this song. I shouldn't dare to, but it is given by Narottama Dasa. It is given by our acharyas. It is the ultimate aim of Narottama Dasa and of all the Gauriya Vaishnavas who ultimately aspire for the service of Radha and Krishna, especially those, as most Gauriyas do in their perfectional stage, those who desire to serve Radha and Krishna in their Madhur Rasa. Their Madhur Rasa, and also the devotee serving in Madhur Rasa. So I shouldn't dare to say it, but on the other hand, on one hand we shouldn't say it because Bishoy Charya Kobe, we're still praying Bishoy Charya Kobe, when will I give up sensual desires? On the other hand, Narottama Dasa has told us where we should be headed for, and what is his monashad. What is that? The desire of his mind, the desire of his heart. Moramon Vrindavan. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, my mind is Vrindavan. So Narottama Dasa's mind is Vrindavan. And specifically what? So Rupa Goswami says, it's very famous among the Gauriya Vaishnavas. It's a very famous song, but how many people are actually qualified to sing it? Well, it's very, very, very highest aspiration. Anyway, I'll get on with it. I'll say it's very well known. You may know this. Shri Rupa Manjari Pada, Shemor Shampada, Shemor Bhajana Puja. Now Narottama Dasa is fully opening his heart. So what is he doing? He's sitting, he's chanting, serving the Vaishnavas, singing, preaching, initiating. What is he doing? What is his aim? What is his own generally we all aim, let us please Krishna. Let us serve Krishna. What is his own specific aim? He says that the lotus feet of Rupa Manjari, the principal assistant of Sri Radha, Rupa Manjari, the principal assistant of Lalita, who is the principal assistant of Radha. So he says, that is my wealth, the lotus feet of Rupa Manjari. That is my bhajan and puja. And what are you doing? All this offering arati, so many deities he installed, Narottama Dasa, chanting. Why? What is all this? What's going on? He's meditating constantly on the lotus feet of Rupa Manjari and wanting to get the service of that again. Shemor Prana Dhan, that is my life, my wealth. Shemor Abharan, He's a renunciant. He doesn't have any decorations. His decoration is his tilak in 12 places, but the decoration of his personality is his love for Krishna, which is specifically centered on serving the lotus feet of Rupa Manjari, assisting her in her service to Lalita, who assists Radha in her service to Krishna. So, Shemor Jibone Jibon, they are the life of my life. Shemor Rasha Nidhi, they are the ocean. For me, they're the ocean of rasa. Specifically for Shemor Bancha Siddhi. All my desires, we cannot be desireless. When we come to Krishna consciousness, forget all this stuff of becoming desireless. Become so much full of very strong desire. But that is the desire to serve Radha and Krishna. So that is the lotus feet of Rupa Manjari, specifically concentrating on this lotus feet of Rupa Manjari. Vanchasi, there's fulfillment of all desires, perfection. Shemor Bedera Dharam, what we're following? We're following Dharma according to the Vedas. But why? What is that? Different people, they follow the Vedic Dharma. Some people they think I'm going to become God. Some people think that I'm worshipping Shiva. Some people think I'm going to go to the heavenly planets. Rupa Manjari's Narottama Dasa, everything he does is only for the attainment of the lotus feet of Rupa Manjari. Shebrata, Shetapa, he follows so many vows, so many austerities he undergoes. Shemor Mantra Japa, he's chanting mantras. Shemor Dharma Karam, all the activities he does according to the injunctions of the Vedas, everything he does, it's all centered on this, attaining the lotus feet of Sri Rupa Manjari. So he says, so he's doing all this, and he's simply hoping. What is his hope? Anukula hobe vidhi. When providence is favorable to me, when I get the mercy of God, then Shei Pade Hoibe Shidi, then I will attain the perfection of my life, attain to those lotus feet. Nirakibo e duinayone, and with these very eyes I will see those lotus feet. Shei Rupa Madhuri Rashi, Prana Kubaloi Shashi. This is very poetic language. He says that mass of sweetness, that is Rupa Manjari, that the sweetness of her beauty, the sweetness of her personality, the sweetness of her love, the sweetness of those she serves, that accumulation of sweetness. He says, it is to my life, it is like, if my life is compared to a particular kind of lotus which blooms at night, so that full moon, I'm speaking on Sharad Purnima night, the night when Krishna has his rasa dance with the gopis. So that the moon, when fate is favorable to me, then the moon will shine on my life, the moon of Krishna's mercy will shine on my life and make the lotus of my life bloom, because this Kubaloi, it only blooms at night under the moonshine. Prafulita hobe nishidine. So then when I get that mercy, then I'll be fully blossomed, I'll be fully happy, day and night. the lotus only blooms at night, this particular lotus. But if I get that mercy, I'll be fully blossomed, fully happy day and night. But in the meantime, Tua adarshana ahi. Garalo jarala dehi. Garalo jarala dehi. Garale jarala dehi. But in the meantime, I am bitten by the snake of not seeing you. And therefore, that poison is burning me. Chirodin tapita jivan. He's seeing when I actually get my good fortune, then day and night I'll be fully happy in your service. But in the meantime, I'm dragging on my life, burning, going on and on and on and on. Yugayatam nimeshena chakshusha pravrishayatam shunyayatam jagat sarvam govinda virahena. The bliss of the pain of separation, which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu expressed in being separated from Krishna, that bliss he gives to others, that pain. Now, the snake of not seeing you. Snake bite is common in Bengal, in the rural areas. It's a very common. This to get bitten by a cobra, or actually this kite, this black snake is not very common to get bitten. If you get bitten by a cobra, you might live. If you get bitten by a kite, practically impossible. You're not going to live. When you're bitten by a kite, you don't even notice it at first. So I'm told. I didn't have the experience in this lifetime. But then gradually that poison, it burns and burns, and then you're dead. But the thing is with this poison, you go on, the poison of the snake bite, of not having the darshan of Rupa Manjari, Narottama Dasa says, it's not killing me, it's just burning day and night. My whole life, I'm simply burning in the pain of separation. Normally the snake bite is burning and then death, but this is worse because it's just burning and burning and there's no death. But still there's hope. There's still hope of the cure that my good fortune will arise and then I will get the opportunity. So going on with that, we aren't feeling like that. We should feel like that. That what am I doing? I'm burning in this material existence. Why is my heart not burning with love for Krishna? In this material, separated from Krishna. Chirodin tapita jivan, and you can see the picture of Narottama Dasa. The outside looks very grave and calm. Inside he's burning with the pain of separation. This is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to give. Not everyone can take that. Not everyone is qualified to have that mercy. That's what we're praying for. Otherwise, we can sing and dance and be happy with Krishna. We can serve the lotus feet of Narottama Dasa from a distance. But if we want to come close, it's extremely intense. Here's a translation of this song that's given again by Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj. I'll read his translation, one of the translations he gave. The divine lotus feet and shelter of Sri Rupa Manjari are my ever-cherished, invaluable wealth and object of my devotional service and worship. They are the treasure of my heart that adorns my existence, and they are the life of my life. They are the infinite reservoir of all transcendental mellows and the perfection that fulfills all my desires. They are the conclusion of the esoteric meaning of the Vedas for me. They are the goal of my vows, austerity, mantras, and meditation. They are the purpose of my inner divine existence, and the spiritual activities of my soul. I am earnestly praying that the divine will of providence will greatly favor me, so I may attain perfection in the pure loving service of her lotus feet. At that moment, the moonlike beauty and radiance of Sri Rupa Manjari will appear before my eyes, captivating and bathing the lotus of my heart with rays of ecstasy constantly, day and night. My heart burns, afflicted by the venomous bite of separation from such a beautiful life of fulfillment. I am in such desperate need. Therefore, O my divine mistress, Sri Rupa Manjari, please shower your ambrosial mercy upon me, soothe me and embrace me in the shade of your lotus feet. Narottama Dasa takes complete shelter of you. This is the same kind of bliss in pain, in separation that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu endured. He suffered. He was in bliss, suffering like this. This is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave, what Narottama gave, what Srila Prabhupada ultimately gives. Krishna vicheda jatartya kshine chapi manastanu dadhate pulatang bhavar yasyatam gauram ashraye. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami opens one of his chapters in the Antya Lila of Chaitanya Charitamrita with this verse. Let me take shelter at the lotus feet of Lord Gaurachandra. His mind became exhausted and his body very thin from the pain of separation from Krishna. But when he felt ecstatic love for the Lord, he again became fully developed. Now we might think, wait a minute, it's too much emphasis. We might think Narottama Dasa is a whole song, everything he's aiming at Rupa Manjari, to serve her. But isn't it that we're supposed to be focused on Radha and Krishna? It might seem that this song is almost an insult or a deviation. We're supposed to be focused on Radha and Krishna, but he's saying, Shemar Pranadhana, the wealth of my life is Rupa Manjari. But then again, we have Narottama Dasa singing, Radha Krishna Pranamo Jugala Kisha Jivane Marane Gati Arnahima. That Radha and Krishna are my life. Radha Krishna, I don't desire anything else in living or in death. So what's going on here? Is it not contradictory? No, he desires to serve Radha and Krishna, but according to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teachings that we have to become Gopi Bhartur Padakamalaya Dasa Dasa Anudasa. We have to become the servant of Krishna, who is served by the gopis, who's the husband and protector of the gopis. So that's not simply talk. To serve Radha and Krishna means to serve them through his devotees. And we become most grateful for the devotees to be able to offer our service to Radha and Krishna through the devotees. So we're very grateful to Srila Prabhupada that we are serving. Here in ISKCON, we have a particular affection for Srila Prabhupada because he is giving us the opportunity to serve Radha and Krishna. So that's a very natural thing. If we say, my life is service to the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada, that doesn't violate the principle, Jivesharup Hoi Krishna Nitya Das, that the constitutional position of the living being is the servant of Krishna, because Srila Prabhupada is a servant of Krishna, and he's teaching us to serve Krishna. So if we serve and make the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada our life and soul, that means that we are dedicating ourselves fully to Krishna, because whatever Srila Prabhupada gets, he offers to Krishna. And he's competent to engage us in the service of Krishna. And so in this way, we have to serve Radha and Krishna through the acharyas. Shri Rupa Manjari Shaki Kripa Drishti Chaya Tapi Narottama Shincha Shivamrita Diya. There's another little quote from Narottama. There's so many songs he's given expressing the Shri Rupa Manjari Shaki, or you are Saki, the friend of Radha, Rupa Manjari. Show your glance of mercy upon me, and this burning Narottam, burning in the fire of separation, you sprinkle the nectar of service to yourself upon me. And in other words, I'm withering away. Chiradin tapita jivan. I'm withered away. I'm burned up. I'm dried out from the fire of separation from you. So give me the nectar, the rain of your nectar. The rain will cool me and nourish me and bring me back to life. Just like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he became withered up and then again became blossomed. So these are the very high sentiments. Disappearance Day, we generally sing. The Disappearance Day of great devotees, we generally sing the song of Narottama Dasa, who himself was suffering in great separation from all these great personalities, most of whom, the followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he never actually saw them. The only was Jiva Goswami, who might have seen Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his childhood. Otherwise, Jiva Goswami didn't have association with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu directly, but he got association through the other Goswamis of Vrindavan, and then he gave his association to Narottama, and Narottama was always lamenting, I just got born just a little bit too late, I missed it all. I missed all the pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He's always fully connected in his consciousness. He was always living in Vrindavan, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was always living in Vrindavan. Anne hridayman moramon Vrindavan. For other people, their heart is, they're mindful of material desires, but my mind is simply Vrindavan. So, a very famous song, Jayanilo Premadhana Karuna Prachur. Hino Prabhu Kota Gala Acharya Thakur. He's Srinivasa Acharya, he's praying. What happened? He left. When Srinivasa Acharya left this world, Narottama Dasa was shocked. Where's he gone? He brought the Premadhan, being most merciful. He brought the wealth of Krishna Prem. Now he's gone. So many others went before him. Kaha mor Sharup Rupa. Kaha. He says, where is my Swarup? Where is my Rupa? Where is Sanatana? Although he never saw Swarup or Rupa, but he was very intimately associated with them. Because Swarup goes, Narottama Dasa is very intimately associated, because Swarup Damodar is Lalita, and Rupa Goswami is Rupa Manjari, and his aspiration is to serve Rupa Manjari. So he can say, my Swarup, my Rupa, where is Sanatan? Kaha Dasa Raghunatha, Patita Pavana. Where is the Savior of the fallen, Raghunath Das? Kaha Mora Bhatta Juga, where Raghunath Das? Gopal Bhatta, Raghunath Bhatta. Kaha Kabiraj, specifically refers to Krishna as Kabiraj. Eka Kale Kota Gela Gaura Natara. They've all gone together, all left together, along with Gaura, that great dancer, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So what is his feeling? Pashane Kutibo Mata. Onale Poshibo. What is his feeling without getting that association? Then I will enter into fire and break my head against the rock. Gauranga Gunera Nidhi Kotha gele pabo. Where do I go now? What do I do to get that Gauranga who is a storehouse, a reservoir of transcendental qualities? Shri Shaba Shongera Shonge, Jai Koilo Bila, all those great associates Chaitanya Mahaprabhu performed his pastimes with. Shri Shonga na Paya Kande, Narottama Dasa, not getting that association. What can Narottama Dasa do? He's simply crying. This is the mood of Narottama Dasa. So many other songs. Simply crying, simply weeping, simply bliss. Who can understand? On the disappearance day of Narottama Dasa, every day we simply bow down our head at the lotus feet of this great personality, and not even really knowing what we're doing, we simply beg for his mercy, knowing that what he has to give, it's so pure, it's so exalted. I'm so far away, but I know this is where I have to go. This is the direction I'm headed in. I need his mercy, otherwise I'm not going. I can also go. He can bring me. I'm lost. Let me pray for his shelter. So, taking shelter of Srila Prabhupada means to take shelter of all the previous acharyas, and especially on their appearance and disappearance days, we remember them. Not exclusively, we should always remember all of them all the time, but specifically on these days, we remember them and pray for their mercy. Our only qualification to get their mercy is that somewhere in our heart there is some desire for it. Otherwise, as Narottama himself prays to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Patita Pavana Hetu Tava Avatar, Mo Shama Patita Prabhu Na Pai Baya. You've come to save the fallen, you've come to purify the fallen. That's why you descended to this world. But Narottama, in his extraordinary humility, prays, you won't find anyone more fallen than myself. Hare Krishna. Srila Narottama Das Thakur ki jai. Hare Krishna. Vancha kalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya patitanam pavanebhyo